So the main goal for this is to help you visualize what's going on in the story. Basically, create a mental image of what I say and what it might mean. So when you hear about things like dialogue or actions or objects, think about what it means, or as well as the imagery that can help you as well. That's why there's no slideshow. It's for you to think about it yourself. So, anyways, moving on into the story, it is called Araby, and we basically start off the story with a boy explaining what it was like moving into a new house. So he says that the house was a quiet street, except at the hour when the Christian Brothers' school set the boys free. So basically saying that it was a very quiet house, except when school got out and there's kids running around all over the place. And on top of that, he moves on to explain that it was a very strange house as a priest had actually died in the drawing room. And he explains that an air, musty from having been long enclosed, hung in all the rooms. So there was basically a presence of something strange in the rooms. And also moving forward, he talks about how there's lots of papers all over the place, and there's a few books as well that are around his new house, which gives us a strange, basically an image to think about what's going on. Fast forwarding, he talks about how when he moved into his house, how he also played outside with his friends and whatnot. He talks about how when dusk fell, before they had eaten dinner, they would meet in the street. Basically, this led to them playing games and whatnot with him and his friends. And he also watched out for his uncle because his uncle would catch him playing outside when he wasn't supposed to. So he would basically hide in the shadows at night from houses and whatnot, whatever might be around him, to stay away from his uncle and not get caught so he could stay outside and keep playing. On top of that, another interesting thing is that we get introduced a character that has a bit more impact later on in the story. We find out the narrator's friend, Mangan, has a sister, and she calls for Mangan to come inside the house as well, basically asking for her brother to his tea, and this means that basically she would call him back into the house to come stop playing and come back inside. Moving forward, we find out that the narrator actually noticed her a lot more than usual because it says that her dress swung as she moved her body and the soft rope of her hair tossed from side to side. So he's basically telling more details about this woman, basically Mangan's sister, his friend's sister, and this tells us that he may have a connection with her because he's talking about her. So we can basically think in our heads that there might be a deeper meaning to what she might be doing in the story. Moving forward, he also talks about how basically her image accompanied me even in places the most hostile to romance. So this tells us that basically now he's full fledged, just has a crush on her and he's infatuated by her because he even talks, or he thinks about her. Sorry, he thinks about her when he's at the market with his aunt and when he's by himself in his room. Basically, at all moments, he'll just be thinking about her. And basically, moving forward, one evening he eventually starts to talk to her, and they basically start having a conversation. And she talks to him about a bazaar that is coming. And she says that she would love to go to the bazaar, but she's not able to because she has other plans. So the boy, the unknown narrator, decides that, okay, I can bring you back something from the bazaar. So basically, he's trying to do something that would help his chances with finding more about her or talking to her or just being close to her. So he thinks that maybe getting her something from the bazaar would be a better thing to do. So he says, if I go, I will bring you something. So he makes plans to go to the bazaar just because she wanted to go to the bazaar. And he basically has to wait for his uncle to come back, and it ends up taking a longer time than usual. But by the time his uncle comes back, he gives the unknown narrator some money to go to the bazaar, and now it gets strange because he had plans to go much earlier, but now it was near the closing time of the bazaar, and now he has to go quickly to go get something. It says, at 9 o'clock, I heard my uncle's latchkey in the hall door. So this is indicating that he had been waiting a really long time, but finally his uncle came back home. He was able to get some money from his uncle to go to the bazaar in order to get the thing that the girl wanted. So moving forward, he basically finds out that he goes to the bazaar, and the lady at the bazaar is pretty rude to her, and pretty rude to him, and basically he gets very angry because he ends up not buying anything, and the story ends pretty abruptly by him saying, "I saw myself as a creature driven and derided by vanity, and my eyes burned with anguish and anger." So basically, it just ends like that, the story, and we understand that basically he was very frustrated that he didn't get what he wanted, and he seems to be sort of mad at his environment because things like his uncle and this lady were preventing him from accomplishing his goal in the story. Anyways, that is it for me. Wayne, Gasha, Manny, Fayez, and Gurman are going to talk about the rest.